What is up, y'all? It is Graham with another episode of the Groovy Files, and today I got my man Jay with me.
What's good?
And today I also have one of my lovely co-hosts back, Eric and Don.
Yo.
And today we'll be talking about two main topics. Number one is one of Kendrick's big debuts, I guess, in terms of albums or mixtapes, Section 80, and industry plans, and why I think the term is bullshit. So first off, I want to say for Section 80 is, what is the first song that you ever heard from Kendrick Lamar?
High Power. Yeah. For me, I want to say it was High Power, but I also, the first song I heard was Michael Jordan. Oh, I'm so sorry. I love that song. It's so crazy that niggas do not like that song. And I think that song is wonderful. It's so funny because just looking back on Kendrick's career and seeing how serious that nigga is, and every time he does some silly shit, I'm like, this is really good because he doesn't usually do that. Bro, you know what? That's kind of interesting because I guess now that I think about it, for that to be the first song you hear, and then for you to like get into his catalog afterward, there is something. There's something to that. Like I could imagine that dynamic being interesting for you as a listener. For me, like my journey into Kendrick and my journey in the rap as a whole, it started with my brother. Like my brother was one of the first people that was listening to Kendrick Lamar that I knew. Like he got pictures with that nigga at his early concerts in like 2011 type shit. And I used to go with him to go play basketball places, and he'd be playing like Drake, Kendrick, Cole type stuff before they was real big. And so we used to listen to Overly Dedicated and whatever music he made around that time, like the freestyles and some of the stuff from C4. So yeah, it was really crazy to see where he started from and him making the music that he does even now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first song that I heard was High Power. I don't remember how I came across that, but I remember from there, like going to see the project that it was on and seeing this now, looking at how it was, the outro, and doesn't have much to do with, the concept of the album. But it's a great close, and I think if you talk about like introductory songs, I think that's a good one.
I think real shit. I feel like if High Power was like your introduction to Kendrick, not High Power, but Michael Jordan was your introduction to Kendrick, I would think this nigga is the worst rapper ever. Like, I do not like Michael Jordan at all, bro. The song. Okay, may I ask, was there ever a point where you liked that song? Not really. Like, but like, I feel like throughout time, one thing I think people really misconceive about Kendrick is that, like Jay was saying, is that he's this super serious nigga, when that nigga is the exact opposite. That nigga is very silly. Like, dude, that nigga is like silly nigga, is Teflon silly nigga. Kendrick is one of them people that, like, celebrities I would just want to like have a conversation with, because I know he gonna say some silly ass shit, and I know it's gonna be funnier because it's coming from him. But I think we talked about this on the Groovy Files before. If not, I've definitely talked about this in Discord. I knew this nigga was not like all the way serious. When I heard Beyonce for the first time, I was like, this is one of the craziest songs
That's an insane.
And it was so funny. It was legitimately one of the funniest songs I'd ever heard. And I was like, this is really good, but what made you make this?
Yeah, that's a crazy song.
Like, Kendrick is like, bro, like, listen to Kendrick, like, be unserious. It's still one, like, it's like one of the most, like, especially when like his he has like an act of like using his silliness to his advantage. Like even on To Pimp a Butterfly, like it's some funny stuff like in there, like in terms of like on for free and things like that. Like he uses it really well. Like it's funny, but also he still gets his message across in a great way and things of that nature. So when I think of like, I just be wondering like what Kendrick y'all be paying attention to sometimes when y'all think this nigga needs to be like ultimately serious like all the time. And this why I kind of feel like the Hillbillies is kind of a breath of fresh air, sort of. Because like I like seeing artists like not be like, hey, don't put me in that box like that, because even though I'm great at delivering these concepts and stuff, like don't mean like I can't experiment with other stuff. Like that's the number one thing y'all should know about me. I don't really do the same thing twice. So Kendrick's silliness is very great. Like that's one thing I love about him, honestly. But my second thing about Section 80 is that it's kind of crazy that he was kind of like crowned the torch. He got the West Coast torch. I think it wasn't before Section 80, but it was right after Section 80, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it before Section 80?
It was right after. Was it after Good Kid, Mad City?
No, I think it was before. And whether it was before Section 80 or after, I really don't remember. I think it was a little bit after. I don't think we'll ever see someone get crowned the best in their city that early in their career ever again. Like, I had never seen no shit like that before. Never in my life have I ever, like, everyone in there was like, yeah, this is the best nigga here. Like, after Section 80. And then he's arguably made 3 projects better than that since. 3 or 4 projects better than that since.
Yeah, arguably, yeah. Yeah, it's wild to see somebody, like you said, universally heralded as the best from your city by the legends of that city, and especially for them to do it when he's like in his mid-20s.
The niggas that crowned him were still making music. Like, that's like if Future crowned like Tony Snow or something. Like, that's just it's just so crazy to think about the context of it. Like, I cannot believe even to this day that this happened. And I also can't imagine what the conversation was between the legends. Like, that's one of the conversations I wish I could be there for, where they decided like, yeah, this nigga is taking West Coast rap to a level that we haven't.
Right.
Specifically Snoop Dogg. Like, I want to see I really want to know what was going through his mind. Even though that nigga was probably high as fuck. But
especially Snoop Dogg. He has seen so many legends. He's been rapping for so long.
Like, bro, he's been relevant for like arguably like multiple decades. So like I kind of want to know, like, in even Game was like before he started like being more of just a jackass. Like even Game before that, he was kind of like, okay, this little nigga like that. Like you had Snoop, The Game, Corrupt. Who else?
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember. I can kind of picture the video, but I can't remember who all was there.
I'm about to look this up right now. Snoop Dogg, The Game, Dr. Dre. I don't even fuck with that nigga, but I know that's a very big.
It's a big accomplishment.
That's huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, bro, like that's just crazy foresight to have. And like, I feel like Section 80, I feel like with Kendrick Lamar, like you could. The crazy shit about Kendrick Lamar is like, you can. I honestly want to say, outside of Mr. Morale, you can call any of one of his projects an arguable classic, because Section 80 is undeniable. Like Section 80 is even undeniable. Like that's what I feel like. What makes it? I feel like there's very few legends. Even though there's very few legends, I think are legends without, like, in terms of like rappers, like there are legends without an undeniable classic album. I feel like Kendrick is one of those rappers like, okay, you can call Section 80 a classic, I wouldn't be mad at you. Good Kid, Mad City a classic, I wouldn't be mad at you. To Pimp a Butterfly, of course, but like a lot of the mainstream, I guess, don't really love that album. Well, I think people are more mixed on it. And then like, honestly think, damn, you could argue that too. Because like, just being like his superstardom, there's like a marking of his superstardom. And on top of that, Kendrick is like the embodiment of, okay, you don't have to sacrifice your strengths as an artist to make it in the mainstream. He was able to do what a lot of people couldn't, and deliver concept albums to the mainstream and not watering it down at the same time. And I feel like that's something just very hard to do. And with Section 80, of course, you have the mainstream stuff that a lot of people love. Like you have ADHD, you have Hold Up, Rigor Mortis, and things of that nature. So it's kind of like Section 8 is, I want to say it's the blueprint before Good Kid, Mad City. Like, you listen to Section 80 and like you listen to Good Kid, Mad City, you're kind of like, okay, I see what Kendrick, he displayed these strengths on his very first project like this, in terms of like making a concept album, and it translated very well to his big mainstream debut. So like, for instance, listening to like songs like Chapter 6 and Ronald Reagan Era and Poor Man's Dreams and things like that, it's just the completeness of Kendrick Lamar as a rapper is just something I think will forever be underrated. Always. Like, I don't think people understand how hard it is to check all boxes as a rapper.
Well, I want to bring back a point that you said earlier real quick. I want to ask how many, like you were saying, Kendrick did never sacrifice his artistic integrity to be, and he was still as he was. Like Kendrick is basically your favorite rapper's favorite rapper type junk. How many rappers were able to do that historically and be as big as he was? Like I can only think of Nas.
Can you say that one time?
So basically, like with Kendrick being able to be in that conscious rapper, spiritual miracle type stuff, but not really, but basically be like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper type of rapper and be as big as he was. The only other rapper that I can think fits in that box is Nas.
Yeah, to be able to do both is like, I think that's a difficult, line to walk. So I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you on that.
Like with Section 80, I feel like, and like Kendrick also like mastered the concept of the outro to me as well. Cause like I feel like you can call every single Kendrick outro iconic as well. Like you have High Power, you have Compton, where he kind of talks about like, okay, this is my environment, this is where I came from, and going forward. You have Mortal Man, which I think is like the thematic peak of his career and the embodiment of like all his music in one song. Duckworth kind of being like, okay, I am a product of my environment, but also the choices, the sins and virtues of life that we choose every day are what make us and break us. And basically, one decision can pretty much change your whole trajectory in terms of your entire life. And then Mother I Sober, even though I don't think it's nowhere near my favorite song on the album, I think it's still very valid. And I think it still takes, as an artist, it takes a lot of guts to put that out there, especially someone that has dealt with being painted as sort of a larger than life figure and deciding, okay, I'm going to take the crown off. I am an artist first. I am not an invincible figure. So with Section 80, I kind of feel like it's just, I'm trying to think, hold on. Kendrick just one of those artists, man. Like, I don't think there's enough words to solidify how great he is. Because although, like, in terms of like the numbers box is one story, you can justify it definitely in terms of superstardom. In terms of like just an artistic perspective, it's a whole nother story for me.
Yeah, I think like you said earlier, I think Section 80 does a really good job at laying the groundwork for his future projects. Like, even the fact that that Keisha's song it weaves into Sing About Me, like even going beyond that, like just the concept of being able to put together a cohesive narrative with your debut album and then carrying that into your major label debut, I think that's pretty difficult to accomplish.
People don't understand how hard it is to make concept albums. Like, that's why very few rappers even touch it. Like, you have to be on point, you have to be on topic, you have to do all of these things just for the project to be remotely decent. And then, like, to execute at a great level is something even not many legends can do. Like, if we looking at history.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to grasp, especially when you're working on a creative process, putting together an album, trying to weave each track into the next, not just with sound but thematically. That's like you said, there's a reason that most rappers don't even try to do that, especially not ones that are as in the public eye as Kendrick is.
I feel like Kendrick is one of the few rappers where, and I think it really just because it kicked off with Section 80, like, I love Kendrick very much. If Kendrick stopped rapping right now, I wouldn't really be mad. And I also think he would be satisfied in a sense. Like, I think he could really go the Andre 3000 route and just kind of rap whenever he wants. Because it'd be hard to imagine to me that he's not fully satisfied with his career. I don't think every album he's dropped is a classic, but there are arguments for all of them being a classic in their own right. He's had some really crazy features. He's done shows all over the world. He's got a Pulitzer. He's probably the most popular conscious rapper ever. Like, he's just done so many things, and Section 80 was a beautiful starting point to that. it means, and even revisiting, I think I listen to Section 80 probably at least once a year just to like see how it still holds up, and it always holds up.
But with that being said, I want to go to the next topic, and this is something I just don't think it doesn't have enough merit in like 2023, because and when I think of like when people talk about industry plants and things of that nature, I think to myself what the criteria it is for it. And a lot of it, it's just a lot of blurred lines. And like in 2023, it's sort of like an organic come up is very, it really all depends on if you like that person or not. Like it really all depends. Like that's what you can call organic or not. Like the internet is something that you can literally blow up overnight. Like how am I supposed to tell somebody, okay, this isn't organic, like you're a plant, like that doesn't make sense. So it's kind of like, and the thing is, the marketing tactics people use are sort of different now. Like, for example, I've seen multiple rappers blow up off just a song being ass and getting career off a song being ass because the reaction to it was so adamant. Like, for instance, with Blueface and him earlier, like people were saying, oh my God, this nigga sucks. And then it turned into another song. Okay, this sucks too, but okay, he kind of getting better. And then you have a hit song after that. And it's just kind of like, there's nothing, the conversation, the word has no meaning because number one, what's the criteria? Number two, where do we go from here? Like, what quote unquote industry plant have we had in the past couple of years that's like ruined the state of music or anything like that? What's the impact?
I just
niggas are yelling at niggas yelling at clouds. Niggas yelling at clouds.
Yeah, this is just a ridiculous topic, man. I just like cut it out. Just like the thing is, people will come up with a reason
to hate somebody.
They'll come up with a reason that's not music related as to why they don't like somebody that makes music or somebody's music. And it's just like, what is the point of all of this contrived shit? Like, if you don't like it, just stand on not liking it, and like, because everything else is just unnecessary. Like, there's no merit, there's no rhyme or reason. You just pick and choose when you feel like something is like, it's just baseless claims where you could just be more straight up and say, oh, I just don't like this. Like, I'm not finna posture all day about how they're infiltrating the community with this trash ass music or whatever. And it's just like, no, I just think this sucks. And I'm just gonna continue to think it sucks. There's no industry conspiracy behind it. I just don't like it.
I think also the thing for me is like, I'm sure y'all have heard of 6 degrees of separation, where everyone is basically connected to someone in some form of fashion. Or it only takes like 6 different people to connect someone with somebody else. So right. It's like, if you think hard enough, if anyone blows up, you could say, oh, they blew up because, you know, their best friend is cousins with a CEO, or they cousin knows an artist that works at Universal. It's like, if you really think hard enough, I guess, but for most of the time, you really are reaching. Like Grant was saying, anyone can blow up off of absolutely anything nowadays. Like Doja Cat blew up because of Moo. And
A bad
you know,
song.
Moo was cool.
Song I think it's ass. But
Moo was cool, but it was far from her best work, and she blew up off of it because it was bad. She just wanted to make something silly, and it just worked out in her favor. And now she's one of the more popular women artists in the world, and that's just how the game goes. Sometimes I don't mean she an industry plant. Like people were talking about when people found out Baby Keem was Kendrick's cousin, they're like, "Oh, he's an industry plant." And it's like, I don't think
it's not really.
To me, Baby Keem makes music that I feel like would have blew up in some capacity regardless. Like, sure, knowing him being cousins with Kendrick, I'm sure it helped. But everyone has something that helps them along the way somehow. Niggas don't just get it out the mud like that anymore.
Orange Soda was popular in 2019 before Family Ties even came out. Like, it was popular. So like, and then like Baby Keem talks about how like he was kind of like independent for a minute and things like that. So it's kind of like I hate when we do anything to unless warranted, we do anything to legitimize someone's success. Like, okay, they did this, like, accept it. Just say you don't like them. Just say you don't like their music. That's it. Like, instead of just making up all these reasons and theories, like, and this, man, I ain't trying to do this, bro, but like, people, conspiracy theorists, listen to me. I don't give a. This is y'all warning, or this is y'all food for thought. Stop trying to make up all this shit instead of just reading what's in front of you. That's the thing. Like, you're making up all this absurd shit instead of just seeing that the actual quote unquote conspiracy is literally right in front of your eyes. Like, stop being fucking dumb, nigga. Like, damn.
I got one more quote on this. One more thing on this. Let's say by some miracle you find out that this artist that you hate is an industry plant. Now what? Like,
it's already too late. Like, it ain't
what do you do? What do you do?
It's like, it's Joker, bro.
You just run around yelling at people and saying that you realize this. Like, congratulations, I suppose. But like, what is there for you to gain?
And that's the problem. And that's the problem with a lot of conspiracy theories, because it's like, what's the end goal, bro? Your end goal translates to nothing good. Like, there is no substance to your end goal, and that's the problem with a lot of conspiracy theories, man. Like, what y'all doing? For real? Like, what are y'all doing? What are you doing, bro?
This is so.
It's so like, this is like my whole issue with people discussing music on Twitter now. It's like, oh, this niggas are saying anything in the book besides just saying, I don't like this fucking song, or just getting straight to the point. Like, if you said lack of originality is very prominent in some of the mainstream male rappers' music today, that would be correct. That would be fucking correct. Outside of the superstar, that would be correct. But like, niggas be like, oh, this shit isn't good because people are using lazy sampling. Meanwhile, niggas been sampling lazy for a while. Like, that's not the problem. You just don't like the damn song. You just don't like the song. Or like,
everything is always a macro issue, and it's not just, it's like, are you scared to say that you don't like it? Like, are you scared to say you don't like a thing? This is like, especially Twitter of all places. Like, all y'all do is sit up there and fucking complain all day. I'm sorry.
That's why, like, and like, it'd be like, it's like using the state of hip hop. Just say the hip hop sucks right now. It's like, just like an automatic retweet thing, bro. Like, dude, nobody is forcing you to listen to none of these niggas, bro. Nobody is forcing you to listen to the same damn 808s. None of that shit. Go ahead, expand your palette, bro. I hate to be one of the niggas, bro, but like, dog, I don't have to listen what's on the charts right now. I have music. I have other music. Like, for instance, like, I don't listen to a lot of mainstream rappers like that heavy right now because I don't like the music. I just go listen to somebody I do like. That's all it is. All it takes, bro. It's just like I can't. In closing today, ain't nothing wrong with complaining, bro. But at the same time, dog, like, what's the end goal? If the end goal is nothing of substance, then just get your spill off and move on, man. Like, that's all, bro. Because niggas just be talking.
For me, complaining is cool if you're not like entirely serious about it, or you're not beating the dead horse about it. Like y'all were saying, with saying that hip hop is dead or whatever, or there's no good music out. Like, everybody says that every day. Like, you're not bringing nothing new to the table. For me, I understand what people are saying about it being hard to find artists, but also at the same time, it's like the internet is so vast, and we haven't, like, DJs and stuff haven't put on a new artist in a really long time. Like, I don't know why we're complaining about this now when that just really has not been a prominent thing in ages.
Right, for sure.
It's a bunch of hoopla, man. But hey, man, I'm gonna close the episode on that. Let us know what album you want to discuss. But other than that, y'all stay easy. We out.